Hello and welcome into another episode of the Seahawkers Show with your host Todd Fox. Yes, we did it. Week 1, we get the victory on the road, 38-25. Road games are never easy, no matter the opponent, but a little bit easier because the crowd wasn't in it. But let's get to all that as we get started here on the recap. I'll get into stats. I'll get into some highlights. We'll check things out. But first, please like and subscribe and share. I'm trying to get this Seahawk page off the ground, so please help me doing that, and I'll be much appreciated. So the Week 1 recap starts like this. The Seahawks went into Atlanta, and obviously no fans in Atlanta. This was going to be a game where they were favored to win, and I called that they would win 31-14, something like that, and almost hit the score on the nose there, kind of. Seattle wound up winning 38-25. My overall take from this game is the first quarter, they won fairly easy, 14-3. I thought offensively, Atlanta went down on the first drive. Kind of worried me a little bit because they got into a groove. The passing went pretty good. Gurley, for the most part, in the first quarter, ran the ball at will. He made some really good cuts. I was kind of concerned they didn't put no pressure on, because that was the key to the game, was could they pressure Matt Ryan and make him uncomfortable in the pocket? And we'll get to that as we go, but in the first quarter, at least, he was able to do what he wanted to. Calvin Ridley made some nice catches. Julio Jones made some nice catches. And then Gurley was on point. So I'm thinking, the Falcons were moving the ball, but Seattle took the next 2 drives with Chris Carson, and we'll go through those highlights in a second here. But I'll play some video highlights, and I'll just describe a little bit, and then I'll get into the stats. And then I'll tell you the pros and cons and what I liked and disliked as we go along here. So let's play a couple of the highlights, obviously. This is from the game yesterday.
3 steps, got hit in the chin, and that was the last time.
Off the fake, Wilson rolling, dumps it to the goal line for Carson, and it's a touchdown for the Seahawks.
So that was a little bootleg action on the very first drive. I thought that was very impressive. Seattle got helped out, too, with like a 30 to 40-yard penalty on a pass interference on a 3rd and long. Russell Wilson was trying to throw down Tyler Lockett around the red zone, and there was pass interference, and then that put the ball in the 5, and Seattle was able to run the naked bootleg, or not the naked bootleg, but the bootleg to the right side, and then Chris Carson was wide open. Wilson could have maybe handed the ball off to him, or he could have ran it in himself, but he got the touchdown, and Chris Carson got off to a good start. So that was the first play I wanted to highlight, and then there's a couple plays in here that I'm going to let play through to show you how Atlanta kind of went down the field on the second drive and got the ball moving a little bit.
This opening quarter from the 25. A play fake to Gurley. They want to be more effective on play action this year, and Julio Jones is a good target to go to all the way into Seattle territory. With Brian Hill checking in as the running back. Here's his first carry, and
now that play right there by Bobby Wagner was really key because it was 3rd down. Right there at 7-3, Atlanta was moving the football again. They were trying to get a 3rd down conversion and move the ball, and they were trying to get into scoring position again. So it was key for Seattle to make a stop right there. But the thing is, the play the next time I'm going to show you is the fact that our rookie stepped up and made a nice play. The fact that, we were talking on the last episode about the keys, and Seattle would have to bring the blitz since the front 4 was not as good as and has not been as strong as they should be, and very inexperienced. So we're going to see blitzes, and we saw blitzes by Jamal Adams, Bruce Irvin, and a few others, much like I called earlier. So then this game, though, you saw one from the rookie coming from the outside free, and he makes a key block.
Bobby Wagner in the backfield on 3rd down to wrap him up for the stop. They converted 13 of them. 4th best 4th down rate in the league last year. Blitz coming in, it's knocked down. Benson Mayowa with a big block there on 4th down. Otherwise, I believe the tight end or the running back was wide open in the flat. So by him blitzing in, knocking the ball down, huge 4th down stop. In Seattle took the ball, and then I'm going to show you the next few plays what they do with it. Approaching 2 to play here in this opening quarter of the season. Wilson over the middle on the slant. It's DK Metcalf. Extensions being signed this past week. In fact, a few of them on Friday, including Dalvin Cooks.
How about them running backs all getting paid?
Alvin Kamara got paid as well. This guy's been paid. Russell Wilson. He surpasses 4,000 rushing yards in his career.
Something they obviously worked on here during their video conferencing meetings.
Wilson will dump it off for Carson here. with blockers in front. Chris Carson, touchdown number 2.
So on those 2 plays, or 3 plays I wanted to bring up is Metcalf got a nice early catch over the middle. Some say he's not a possession receiver, but he got a nice little first down. And he did have a 1 key drop in the third quarter, but we don't need to touch on that too much. But for the most part, he had a quiet almost 100 yards. I'll get into his stats. But the next play, you saw Russell Wilson, which later in the season or usually late in the games, he'll keep the ball. And this was one thing that caught Atlanta off guard is they kind of ran what they thought was going to be an option play, and Atlanta totally bid on Lockett and did not cover Wilson, because usually Wilson early in games does not keep the ball like he did in his early part of his career. He usually always defers, and it's always a run option or read option, but he gives it to the running back or the receiver, whoever's running with him. This time he tucked it and ran it, and he went aggressive and got a lot of yards, and at the same time passed Steve Young all-time as for over 4,000 rushing yards. So that was pretty good. Not all-time, but just he passed Steve Young as far as rushing quarterbacks. So that was pretty cool. And then the next play was a nice screen pass to Chris Carson. So Chris Carson didn't get in the end zone in this game via the run, but he got 2 nice passes from Russell Wilson, 2 touchdowns, and we'll get to his stats later, but those are 2 plays that worked in the Seahawks' favor. And I'm going to show you here on a third down play. This play pissed me off with Russell Wilson because they could have called 3 different penalties on this play, which would have extended the drive, obviously, leading at 14-9. This is in the third quarter. Atlanta had kept it uncomfortably, or second quarter, kept it uncomfortably close. And this is a play that could have just changed the whole first half. You could have called a high-low hit on this. You could have called a personal foul, blow to the head, or you could have just called roughing the quarterback. But check this out. How was this not called with the NFL being so serious on penalties and hitting the quarterback?
Last year, the torn ACL in the opener 2 years ago. Wilson running out of time and brought down. Grady Jarrett was the first man there. And then he got finished off by Dante Fowler.
Yeah, that was pretty terrible right there. I couldn't believe that. And then right here, I'm going to show you Jamal Adams. This is another version of what the Seahawks need to do to keep blitzing. I'll get into Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams was like the star of the show yesterday. I mean, there was a lot of stars on offense, but defensively, dude, you could not complain with how good Jamal Adams was in this game.
On 3rd down and 6, pressure off the edge. Down goes Ryan. Guess who? Jamal Adams downhill.
And right here, this is the next play I want to get into. This is after they ran in my mind was terrible. It was like a 3rd and 3, and they ran a run with Homer to I think his only carry, Travis Homer. They ran a pitch play vertically, and Atlanta, their defense isn't good. We went over this last video, and their defense is just not talented, but they are fast, and that's the only plus that they do have as a defense. And you don't want to run vertically on them. You want to pound them inside or through the line. And Seattle ran vertically for whatever reason. It was a 2-yard loss, and I think it was so it went from 3rd and 3 to 4th and 5, and I was very shocked. It was going to be a long field goal for Myers, and I'm glad they didn't go for the field goal. Why? Because they have DK Metcalf.
From the 38-yard line, Wilson wants it all. Deep ball. Metcalf got it. Touchdown, Seattle. On 4th down, they leave the offense out there, and it's the first.
So that was a huge play right there. So Seattle takes a 21-12 lead at that point in the third quarter. Now Atlanta is feeling the pressure, knowing that they are having a hard time stopping Seattle. So they figure, you know what, let's catch them sleeping. They don't have too many guys on the line. As you could see, there's, they just have the base guys up front. Atlanta actually, if the guy doesn't fumble, if Lano Hill doesn't cause the fumble, basically he would have had the first down and Atlanta would have got the drive going. But Lano Hill comes up with a huge hit, and that stopped the drive and helped Seattle rack up the score.
3 and out forced by the Seattle defense. It's a fake. Trying to run it up the middle on a fake punt. A little bit of a juggle of the ball.
I think he fumbled it.
And there may have been a fumble there. Sherrod
got him.
So that led to this. And that led to our boy in the middle, our tight end. He makes his first touchdown. That would be Greg Olsen, the 14-year veteran from the Carolina Panthers, makes his first touchdown as a Seattle Seahawk. And if you would have seen the replay, I didn't get the replay on this one, but this is just the actual video from the game. But the pass was thrown way before Olsen was even looking. And so, like, right when he just turns his head slightly, he has such quick hands, he grabs the ball. I mean, Russell threw it on a rope. There was no defense for this, believe me.
Off his leverage point to make the tackle.
Wilson to the end zone, looking for Greg Olsen. First Seattle Seahawk touchdown for the veteran.
And then this play, I'm going to round out the plays, the highlights, and this is just to show you how easy that Metcalf is going to be able to get yards. And with the other weapons on the field, when the other two receivers come back, I think the Seahawks are going to be even more legit. And the other weapons that they have, sometimes you're going to be forced to, like Atlanta was right here, to play one-on-one coverage like they did on that 4th and 7 play, which Wilson burned them, or 4th and 5 play. And then on this play right here, this is just too easy. This is a slant and up, or up and out, whatever. I know I'm mixing up the plays. But anyway, Metcalf makes this look so easy, and this pass was actually not thrown on point like the touchdown one was. This one was a little bit behind him, so he had to slow down a bit to catch it. But still, I mean, if you look at it, Metcalf makes this look way too easy.
Pressure on Wilson. He's got separation from Metcalf. A.J. Terrell was nowhere to be found.
So that's the highlights on that. I wanted to show you guys exactly what happened.
Got hit in the chin, and
what happened with the game there, and I just picked out a few highlights from the games. So basically on the breakdown, let's get to this. Let's get to some of the stats and what we liked. Again, Seattle took the lead in the first quarter. We're going to get to the scoring plays and everything else here in a second. They scored 2 touchdowns early. That would be and Russell Wilson, I believe, was 9 of 10 or 11 of 11 off the start. Seattle won the first quarter 14-3, lost it 9-0 in the second quarter. That's when Atlanta got as close as they were going to get. Seattle then put on 2 touchdowns, which we showed in the third quarter. And in the fourth quarter, they kind of traded back and forth. Atlanta got 13 points garbage. Seattle got 10 to salt it away. Russell Wilson was an impressive 31 of 35, 322 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. Now, we saw this a lot in the beginning of the first half of the season last year, where he was just on a roll on an MVP type caliber season, but unfortunately, like Lamar kept it going all year. Wilson kind of dropped off towards the end when he had to carry it a lot. But when you see the balance that he has, and he's able to make these smart throws, because Wilson is a very smart quarterback, when he has the time and when he has the weapons, not like last year with all the injuries, he can be spectacular. So 31 to 35, I mean, god damn. I mean, how much more do you want to ask from your quarterback, or how much can he give you? I mean, that's great numbers. Rushing, Russell Wilson actually led the way. I mean, this was not a marquee type, Schottenheimer type offensive performance offensively. They did not pound the rock, and they didn't need to. I think we talked about it last video, was I thought keys to the game, and this is one of the keys to the game, was get the passing game going, get it flowing, and that'll get the running game going, or vice versa. You want to get one going, and I thought they would really pound the rock early and then open up the play action. Really, Seattle was moving the ball vertically with a pass, and I really enjoyed it. I thought the only down play or the only thing that I felt taken away as a con in this game was early on they didn't protect against the run. They didn't stop the run very good. And then second quarter, for whatever, the play calling got really weird and conservative, and that's why they put up a goose egg instead of scoring more points. They didn't have that like real fire, and that's the only thing that upset me a little bit, was we gave up 25 points. And then also that second quarter play calling was very questionable, but it got going in the third and fourth. I felt much better. They got a lot of aggressive, and if Seattle can stay aggressive offensively all year, instead of like getting into little lulls and just playing a little too conservative, the sky's the limit for this team. That's why we predicted them to win the NFC West. So getting back to the rushing, surprisingly, Carlos Hyde had more carries than Chris Carson. Carlos Hyde had 7 carries, 23 yards, and a touchdown. Chris Carson had 6 carries, 21 yards, no touchdowns. David Moore had that one running play for 12 yards. Receiving, 4 catches for, this is where he spread it out. He did a really good job. 4 catches, 95 yards for DK Metcalf. 8 catches, 92 yards for Tyler Lockett. Again, Lockett had a quiet 92 yards. Metcalf, besides that one touchdown, a quiet 95 yards. These guys really didn't. I don't think you can say Metcalf was a quiet 95 yards. My bad. Lockett was more of a quiet 92 yards, but he made several catches. Russell Wilson saw him. I don't even think he missed throwing a pass to Lockett. I mean, everything that was thrown was caught. And then Chris Carson, obviously, with those six catches, 45 yards, 2 touchdowns. Greg Olsen had 4 for 24 and a touchdown. David Moore had 3 for 28. And a rookie, Swain, got 1 catch for 17 yards. Hollister got a catch for 9. Disley got 2 for 8. And Travis Homer got 2 for 4. So that's the offense. Let's get to the defense. And obviously, which was amazing to me, we knew Jamal Adams was going to ball out. And we knew that this is a new, different LOB. The thing that was crazy to me is I didn't hear too much Trey Flowers at all. I didn't see too much Trey Flowers at all. So the plays that he was in, they didn't throw his way at all. They did attack Shaquem Griffin, which was different from last year because it was opposite. Last year, Trey Flowers was being the corner to be picked on. But he actually put up good stats last year, and Shaquem Griffin was kind of like your Richard Sherman on the bottom that kind of didn't throw to his side all that much. In this game, Atlanta attacked Griffin a lot. But he did give up some plays, but he did make some plays, especially late in the fourth quarter when he made that tip away from the tight end from Atlanta down the middle. That was beautiful. Fingertips, just get up there and knock that ball away. But Jamal Adams, I mean, he was everywhere, making tackles. I mean, he even missed a tackle on a guy and still got up and tackled him again. Like the player broke loose from him, and he got up and still made the tackle. I mean, the guy's a beast. He got a sack. I mean, he had 12 tackles in his debut and a sack. So, I mean, you can't ask for anything more. And in my opinion, he looks like a more aggressive Earl Thomas. And Earl Thomas was aggressive, but this dude can hit. I mean, he's built like a freaking linebacker. We are so lucky to get him. And the Niners fans and all these other fans that we're talking trash about, we gave up too much, and I don't think so. First off, our first-round picks haven't really panned out, even though we saw Collier make a play for last year's first-rounder. I thought Jamal Adams played a supreme game. You can't ask for much more. Quentin Dunbar made 6 tackles, 1 solo, and then or 1 assisted. Sorry. Delano Hill had a nice game, even though he gave up 1 large pass over the top. He still played pretty good. He forced a fumble. Then you had Marquise Blair up there. Shaquem Griffin had 7 tackles. Quandre Diggs played good. Had an interception in the end zone. Wagner was Wagner. He assisted. I think Poona Ford did good on the run blocking. Bruce Irvin had 3 tackles. KJ Wright 3. And it was funny because they didn't have – I mean, they could go nickel a lot, which was different from last year. They didn't have to go 3 linebackers. And it was really, really refreshing to watch. Jeremy Reed put on a pretty good pressure too, so there was a lot of good to come out of that. Let's get into Atlanta's stats real quick here. Atlanta, Matt Ryan went 37 of 54. Again, garbage yards, 450, 2 touchdowns and a pick. He was having to throw a grip. They got away from Todd Gurley, who most of his yards, if not all of them, came in that first half. After that, they kind of abandoned the run. 14 carries, 56 yards and a touchdown. I'm glad they shut him down. I really hate Todd Gurley. I'm not a fan of his. But receiving, obviously, when you're losing by that much, and Seattle was playing, for the most part, in the third quarter and some of the fourth quarter, kind of prevent being up 3 scores a couple times in the game, guys went off. So Julio Jones had a Julio Jones day, 9 catches for 157 yards. Although you don't like to see 3 receivers in 100 yards plus, just the fact that you still get a W by 13 is pretty impressive. But, I mean, let's just put it to you this way. They were getting a lot of that in garbage. I know Jones had a kind of good first half, but still most of those yards came in garbage. Ridley had 9 for 130 and 2 touchdowns. And he got a touchdown because Shaquem Griffin ran into Jamal Adams and got laid out and was wide open in the end zone. Cage had 9 for 114. Haven Hurst got 3 for 38. And the rest was like a catch here, a catch there. And the Falcons' defense, I mean, I think Seattle really let them off the hook. They could have scored a lot more points in this game, most likely in the second quarter. They had a chance to really put on some points, but they, for whatever reason, like I said, went conservative in this game. So my takeaway from this game, like I said, pros and cons. I thought the pros were you utilized the blitz when he had to. You got pressure on Matt Ryan. You sacked him a couple times. The first quarter, the cons for Seattle was that they gave up 3 early sacks on Russell Wilson, including the first play of the game. So, but the offensive line after that got it together and gave Wilson, for the most part, without that hit in the second quarter that Wilson took, he pretty much was untouched in the second half. And the con also was that the running game didn't get going, but the passing game was spectacular. And then, like I said, pros on the defense. I really like what I saw from Dunbar. I really liked what I seen with the other corners. Like I said, Flowers was keeping his side quiet. Jamal Adams was a beast. Bobby Wagner was Bobby Wagner. So I think the defense looked really good. But I think they can do better, and I think that's we're going to see that against New England because they will be tested. I scouted a little bit of New England, and I'll get to a preview of them and what they did against Miami. I'm also going to be doing an NFL preview show. I do a weekly one with my boy Matty Matt on the grinds, and then we're going to have video highlights. But I'm going to dive into that Patriots game and then have a just had a shameless plug, sorry. And then I'm going to pretty much going to dive into what we need to do against the Patriots. But pros and cons out of this game, I think the Seahawks did everything they had to do. And then I still say the offensive play calling the second quarter was a little suspect. Other than that, the defense held its own when it had to. So when they had to keep it close because the offense wasn't scoring, they did their job. And then, when the only thing I didn't like too of the cons is Seattle they don't go for blood in the water. They're not right. They're still not like the Baltimore Ravens and other teams that will be like, okay, we're up 20. Let's keep it 20. Let's make it 27. Let's go after the jugular. Let's keep blitzing. Now, Seattle likes to go prevent, and for whatever reason, they let Atlanta march down twice and get 2 garbage touchdowns. So I didn't like that too much. I think the old LOB wouldn't have allowed that. They would have been pissed off. So I think as the season progresses, you'll hopefully see the Seahawks get more aggressive on defense and not allow those garbage points and not allow them as much yards because it takes away from what this defense really can do and be dominant at times because I do think they're going to struggle at times with letting quarterbacks have too much time. But if they do those corner blitzes up the middle and put heat on these quarterbacks, good things will happen. The corners will rise up and make plays in the secondary. The safeties will do the same. So I have confidence in this defense. I have confidence in this team. I hope you guys do too. And it was an enjoyable first week. Not too much as far as the there was a lot of hoopla about social injustice and people turning off the TV, but for the most part they got their message across and we move forward. And like I said, I'm not going to bring that stuff up. It rubs people the wrong way or they like it or whatever. I'm not going to choose a side. I just want to watch football, and for the most part, I enjoyed what I saw. And hopefully, we can get fans back and I can make my trip up to Seattle. And I want to see a game really bad this year. So hopefully COVID calms down. It seems to be. And for the most part, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. Please like and subscribe, like I said. And also let me know how you feel about how I presented today's show. And hopefully I can get into some kind of routine. Hopefully I'm going to be doing these videos. Well, not hopefully, but I will be doing the video highlights. So if you like that, let me know. If not, if it sucked, then I'll just describe things if that's the way you want me to do it too. But for Todd Fox, this is my show, the Seahawkers Show, week 1 recap, tongue-tied again. And then I think on Thursday I will do a preview of the Patriots game, and then we'll go from there. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you for liking and subscribing. Go freaking Hawks.